Okay. Good morning, Mr. Rissa. We are making good progress into our research about reducing food waste at Wayne State. We are still on track to finish our main project on time. I have made contact with our target audience at the Wayne State Food Department. Later this week, I'm going to set up a meeting with her to hammer out our observational times there. Both Kyle and Nathan are still looking for and finalizing any relevant white papers. Leah and Isabel's roles are mostly contingent upon our gathered information. However, they have still been helping us with the work we've done so far. And in the coming weeks, most of the work will shift towards them as our concrete numbers start to roll in. The only hiccup that we've faced so far has been a relatively inconsistent workload, as most of the work has been done in only a few days. However, this hasn't really affected our final work. Overall, things are looking pretty good with our project. Okay. Alright, so in this presentation, we will report on the progress that we have made so far, and we will also elaborate on what we have yet to accomplish. Our work aims at reducing unnecessary food waste at Wayne State, both for environmental and business reasons. Being Wayne State students, we are targeting our sites and operations primarily on Wayne State's main campus. In this progress reports, we will discuss the things that we've already got done, the things we still have yet to do, and our self-made work schedule and how we're sticking to that. And at the end, we're going to look at our overall state of our work. Okay, so I'm Francis. For this project, I did the introduction, and I'm also doing most of the primary research. After I'm done, Nathan's going to take over, and he's going to talk about the work that we've already accomplished. He is also doing most of the secondary research and looking into data that has already been gathered by other groups. After Nathan, Leah will take over, and she'll talk about the work that we need to do in the future. She will also be doing most of the data analysis once our concrete numbers start rolling in. Then Kyle will talk about our self-made work schedule and how we're sticking to it. He is working with Nathan about finding more secondary research as well. And then Isabel will wrap things up with the overall state of our work. She is also doing a lot of the technical work, so she's going to be the one building all of our files and making sure everything works together and looks correct on the back end. So with that, go ahead, Nathan.
Thank you, Francis. This is Nathan Haddad speaking to you about our progress so far on our final proposal. So far, we've secured contact with Wayne State's food department, specifically Alora Chenavier. She's a representative from Aramark, which is a food service provider, and she works directly with Wayne State to help have more sustainable practices in terms of food waste. She actually gave us a lot of important data that we'll be definitely using throughout our proposal. We also compiled research from a variety of credible sources, and this includes articles, scholarly articles, research documents. And this is the data that is more on a wider scale, as we plan to get direct data from local restaurants around campus. But this data is definitely useful in helping us understand the scope of the situation. What else we did is we learned methods of reducing food waste. This includes repurposing cooked food that wouldn't otherwise be able to be donated. For example, you can turn white rice from yesterday's meal, since you can't donate that because it was cooked food, you can turn it into fried rice for tomorrow's meal. We also research community organizations' efforts towards food waste. There's actually a lot of organizations around Detroit that help local businesses have more sustainable practices, one of which is Detroit Feedback Loop, which works directly with Wayne State to pick up leftover food from Starbucks, Towers Cafe, and multiple other restaurants around campus in order to donate that food to the food bank. Considering that transportation is the most expensive part in reducing food waste, Organizations like Forgotten Harvest and Detroit Feedback Loop help lighten the burden. We also gather data on indirect effects of food waste. Food isn't the only thing that's wasted in terms of food waste. That includes the resources that were used in order to get the food, such as land. So you can imagine that with 40% of the food in the United States being wasted, that's 40% of the land that's used to make the food also being wasted. And this has a huge effect on the environment and the economy. That's all for me. Leah is going to pick up with our goals moving forward. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Leah here with my update for the week. We had to shift gears a little bit because we were unable to obtain exact data that we were looking for from the Towers Cafe. We did get a response stating that they are already tracking their waste by weight and donating it off campus. So I would like to actually switch gears just a little bit then to see how we could maybe keep those donations on campus with the W Food Pantry. So this week I reached out to the coordinator, Renisha Williams-Fox, and asked her if she could possibly provide a little bit more specific information. The website just generally states that they are assisting over 1,500 students. So I would kind of like to know, is that annually? Is that an average? And then comparatively, where do we stand with assisting the students that need help? I'd also like to know where they get the majority of their donations from so we can figure out what's working for them and where are some maybe untapped resources where we can get additional donations. This is an image from the U.S. Census Bureau from 2014 regarding poverty in major cities. Detroit being on the lower end for 2014, we could obtain more current data, comparatively speaking, to how many students we're servicing on campus and see if this is something that we're proportionately able to accommodate for the students at Wayne State University specifically. And I'm going to hand you off now to get a timeline on our project. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kyle Brown, and I will be breaking down the schedule that our group is stuck with and will be sticking with for the duration of the project. The first two dates shown here, July 2nd and July 7th, pertain to the project at hand, Project 4. We started this project this past week after completing our previous paper, and we'll be turning this one in on July 7th. Moving forward and looking at the final project itself, on July 9th, we're going to start as a group putting together our rough draft for Project 5A. This rough draft is due on July 18th, so we will be shooting to have it completed on July 17th. This should give us a full day to kind of piece things together and make sure that our formatting is correct and that everything is cohesive as a unit. Moving forward, the day after the rough draft is due, on July 19th, we will begin filming our respective parts for Project Part B, or 5B. 5B specifically is the video that accompanies the final paper, and that will be due on July 22nd. So we are shooting to have that completed by July 21st to make sure that any editing and formatting, again, can be completed ahead of time. Then after that, the final project itself, 5A, is due on July 25th. And so we will be shooting to have that completed on July 24th in an effort to give us time to, again, complete it and make sure that everything is together in a cohesive unit. Looking at what hasn't worked collaboratively for this project so far, there's been a couple periods of time where, because it is summer, communication has been sparse. But our group has been pretty quick to come together and let anybody know if there would be an issue with timing or if anybody would need help. And we've worked together pretty well to come and fix these issues as they arise. Moving forward, Isabel will be giving you the conclusion.
Thank you, Kyle. This is Nathan with your conclusion. From the top, we had Francis with the introduction to our presentation, and he gave you a general layout of who would be speaking on what part, and he also gave you a good idea of, throughout the final proposal, what roles are designated to who and who's responsible for what in order to get the research done that we need. And then you had me updating us on the status of our research and our contact with various contact points that we've set up to meet. So far, not much luck on gathering data, but we have gotten a few responses from the contact points that we're excited about because they can offer a lot of information in terms of food waste on our campus specifically. And then we had Leah, who gave us an update on exactly where we're at, like details with the contact points, what kind of data that they gave us so far, and how we can use it to reach our goals by the end of our proposal. And then you had Kyle with a tentative schedule, which is always good to have. Kyle actually designed the schedule that you saw. We need to have deadlines set, and we need to know exactly what we should be doing on what days in order to make sure that we get done what we need to get done and to meet our goals by the end of the proposal. Here I am with conclusion. It's very important to remember that yes, food waste is a huge problem, and the scale and the scope of it is massive, but we can definitely chip away at the problem at a local scale with the cooperation of Wayne State and the dining services around it. We also need to stress the importance of food waste on an individual level and how reducing your portion sizes can help reduce food waste at even the smallest scale, because even that helps. Thank you.